Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set up a Floyd. So I've removed the Floyd here. Now, one of the things you want to check before you set up your Floyd is you want to make sure that the knife edges are smooth. So I went ahead and pulled mine off, and as you can see, they look fine. Sometimes if it's a cheaper Floyd or if it's a Floyd that's been used a lot, they'll be flat, and you want it to be a perfect knife edge. So the bridge looks okay. Now let's check the springs. Just a quick little pull test. You want to make sure that they've got a little bit of play, but that you can't pull them all the way out, because then you'll have a dead spring. So before we mount it back, Floyds work with fine tuners here and a locking nut up here. Now, once you lock in the nut, you can only adjust here. So before I install the Floyd, I'm gonna extend it all the way out, and now I'm gonna find the halfway point. I'm gonna set all of them to about halfway. That way you can raise up or go down if you need to. Now, the way the Floyds work is you have this block, and then when you unscrew it, this string stopper block can move freely. And what you're gonna do is we're gonna cut the ball end off the string, and we're gonna slide the string in this groove in between the bridge and this block. And then when we tighten the block, that'll press the string in place, and the string won't move, so it'll be locked in. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll put the bridge back on. So today I'm using Ernie balls, and let's start off with Paradigm 46. Now when you cut the string off, you wanna make sure that you cut above all the windings. So I'll come like 2 inches up, snip the ball end off, loosen the set screw, slide it in, and then to where it's snug. So it'll look like that. One thing to remember is you want to make sure that it goes in the slot and that it's straight. You don't want down here angled. So you want to make sure that it's nice and parallel, and it's going to be a straight line. So we're going to redo this one a little bit. Straighten it out. There we go. Now, this process does take a little bit longer than a normal guitar. Usually, you would do it with the springs on the instrument, but I wanted to take the bridge off to show you a few things, so we're going to do it off of the guitar. Now, if I'm restringing a Floyd Rose on the road or a Floyd of my own personally, I will do one string at a time. That way I never have to worry about the bridge sinking into the body. If it's a customer's guitar or a Floyd Rose that I've never seen before, I will always pull the bridge off. One of the issues that I find with a Floyd is if you take all the strings off at once, you can mar the knife edge. Doesn't happen all the time, but I have seen it. And if that knife edge gets messed up, it is way more of a pain to try to fix the knife edge than it is to just pull the bridge off. So if you're doing a big deep cleaning on your guitar and you want to really polish the frets out and hydrate the board, then I would recommend pulling the bridge off and going with the reinstallation steps I'm about to show you. If you just want to change strings and it's not a big deal to, you don't want to polish the frets out or hydrate the board, do one at a time. Okay, so bridge is on. The strings are on. They look okay. So now we're gonna put the knife edge into the groove on the saddle. Now holding it in place, I'm gonna lift the guitar on its back. So I made these blocks. There's 4 different sizes. They're little wedges. And what these are for is for setting up a Floyd. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my trim arm. I'm gonna screw the arm in. I'm gonna lift the trim up, making sure that it's seated. And I'm gonna take my wedge and I'm gonna slide it in between the spring and the block. We're gonna go ahead and start with the outer strings. Pull it tight, get your excess. Just a little bit of tension. We're gonna do the low E now. Pull it through. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the rest of the strings. You want to get them with some tension, but you don't want it to be really anywhere close to tune. So just get the strings on, get a little bit of tension. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and tune her up. Okay, we're gonna tune the 2 outer strings. And then we're gonna work our way in. Okay, so now we're going to cut the excess of the strings off. So now we're going to make sure the bar and the trim is set. So using the bar, wiggle the bridge back and forth. Now we're going to unplug the guitar. And now this is where the wedge is going to come in. So I'm going to use the large wedge and I'm going to slide it in to the cavity. And I'm going to use it till it makes the bridge parallel with the body. So that is how you want the bridge to be. And I use the wedge in between the springs. So you can buy these wedges off my website. So they'll come in a set of 4. So these 4 wedges, these 3, and then this guy. And then this is for like your PRS, your Strat, that style of trims. So it'll come in a little set. You can buy it off my website. The link is below. And I use these wedges to set up all my instruments with Floyd's. The reason I go on this side for the wedge versus a lot of guys go here is this is really where I think most of the adjustments come from. And this, putting them in this spot, to me, makes way more sense than using down here. Because what happens is this is making the springs to tension. This is essentially removing the springs out of your equation and letting the strings do all the work. I know a lot of guys use wedges or a deck of cards or something in this cavity. I've tried it. I don't feel like it works as well. If it works for you, then keep doing how you do it. But for me, on the road, I always go here. I always find it just works better, and I can do it really quick. So find the wedge that works for your guitar and press it in so that the bridge is parallel to the body. So we're going to plug our instrument back in, and we're going to tune. So now we're going to double check. The wedge is secure and the bridge is floating, or is parallel. Double check the tuning, everything is solid. Now, I have videos on how to set up your guitar with relief, action, pickup height, all of that. I'm gonna breeze through this real quick, and we're gonna really only focus on Floyd related items. So I'm gonna go ahead and check my relief. Relief is about where I want it. Okay, I'm gonna use my ruler, holding down on the 1st fret. I'm gonna measure at the 12th. We're gonna go a little bit lower. Okay, that's close. Okay, we're gonna go with that. So I have it from 1.5 to 2.5 64ths. I like really low action, especially for this guitar. So all that's set. Now we're gonna check my pickup height. I'm going to lower this just a little bit. The bridge looks good, so I do 8 to 8 and 4 to 4.5. So at this point, the guitar is set up. Now all we have to do is intonation, stretch the strings, and then set the bridge. So before we do that, we're gonna stretch the crap out of these. So I use these string stretchers. I use 3 of them. And what I will do is I will slide it underneath the string, and I will just carefully go up and down each string a couple of times. And as I do every time I switch string, I rotate through my 3 so that they never get too hot. Go the entire length of the string. Do not pull up or pull back, just let the natural curvature of the tool do the work. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to hand stretch them. We're just going to lift up. This retune. Now, to check intonation, we will put it in playing position. We will pluck it open and then fret at the 12th. So this string is a little flat. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna loosen the string. We're gonna take our Allen key. We're gonna put it here on the saddle, and I'm gonna get the size key that unlocks it. I'm gonna hold it and slide it forward. Okay, so all the strings look okay. The E was just a little flat. So the way I would do it is, man, I don't even know where these came from, but these are Allen key screwdrivers. This is the size that I use for the tree and for the set screws and for adjusting action. This is the correct size for the saddle. So what I like to do is I will use this and I will hold it on the saddle. First I'll take some tension off the string, and then I'll put it here on the edge of the saddle. And then when I unloose it, I'll either press it forward if it's sharp, or let it come back if it's flat. And then I'll tighten it up, tune the string back to pitch, and then I'll check it. It's very important with this, with a Floyd, that you check it in playing position and that the bridge is at the correct level when you do so. So the wedge is still in there, the bridge is still where I want it to be. This is when you can set your intonation. So let's retune it to pitch. Okay, so we're still in tune. Now we're gonna put the guitar on its side. And lifting the arm up. And I will watch the wedge. And when the wedge falls or starts to move, I will stop. looped out. Now the whole time when I was turning it, I was just doing turns like this. Just very small turns. We are going to retune it in playing position. Okay, now we're going to fine tune it. So we're going to take the bridge, we're going to go down, and then check the tuning. Okay, now we're going to come back. And it is returning almost exactly where it should be. When you go down, it comes back. When you go up, it comes back. Now we're gonna grab our trem blocks. I'm sorry, not our trem blocks, our string houses. So these little string houses, you want them like this on the nut. I've seen some guys do them 90, and you want it where the house goes in the, follows the slot. I'll show you here in a second. So we're gonna go ahead and get these on, and we're gonna tighten them all the way. So this is how you want them. Okay. So let's stretch the strings again. Okay, work that again. Make sure the arm is tight. We will retune. Okay, so everything is where it should be. I stretched the strings, I moved the arm, made sure I worked the trem in, and it is staying in perfect tune. Now, let's say it didn't. Let's say we did all of this and it was going a little bit flat or a little bit sharp. At that point, you would do micro adjustments to the trem claw. So if it was going flat, that would mean that the strings are pulling more than the springs are. So it's pulling the bridge up. So you would want to tighten the claw. If it kept coming back a little bit sharp, it would mean that the springs were pulling the bridge more than the strings are. So you would want to loosen the claw. But this is a perfect harmony balance between spring and string tension. The strings are in perfect unison with the springs, and it allows her to float, and it comes back in tune. That is how you set up your Floyd Rose. Again, these trem wedges can be found on my website, as well as a bunch of different luthier tools that I have made and created.